First Contact and Derision. High Admiral Kexthor of the Zalaxian Empire stood on the command deck of the Stellar Dominion, his massive frame casting an imposing shadow across the holographic display of Earth. His scaled skin shimmered under the ambient lighting as he studied the small blue planet with 6 eyes, each containing a different shade of contempt. Another primitive world, he rumbled, his voice carrying the weight of countless conquests. How many inhabitants? Approximately 8 billion, High Admiral, replied Science Officer Vexra, her tentacles dancing across the data streams. But they're remarkably small. The bridge crew exchanged amused glances. In a galaxy where most sentient species averaged 4 to 5 meters in height, humans were practically microscopic at their measly 2 meters or less. Show me their military capabilities, Kexthor commanded, already dismissing Earth as another easy conquest for the Empire. The holographic display shifted, showing Earth's visible military assets. Primitive aircraft carriers floated in their oceans. Rudimentary satellites orbited their world. Ground-based missile systems that wouldn't even scratch the Laxian shields. Kexthor's secondary mouth curved into what passed for a smile among his species. Pathetic. They still use chemical propulsion. Have they even achieved faster than light travel? Negative, High Admiral. Their most advanced vessels barely reached their own moon. The bridge erupted in laughter, a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and rumbling sounds that would have terrified any human present. These creatures, these humans, were so far beneath them that the conquest almost seemed unsporting. But unknown to the Xylaxians, deep within their supposedly primitive vessels, quantum sensors were already analyzing every detail of the alien fleet. In underground bases across Earth, military commanders watched and listened through technologies the aliens couldn't detect, their small size having allowed humans to master miniaturization in ways the larger species never considered necessary. General Sarah Chen sat in the heart of Cheyenne Mountain, her dark eyes reflecting the same data the aliens were so confidently sharing. Around her, the most advanced command center ever built by human hands hummed with activity, its existence completely hidden from the alien sensors above. Let them laugh, she murmured, watching the aliens mock humanity's apparent technological level. They see what we want them to see. The general's fingers traced the outline of a small pendant around her neck, not jewelry, but a quantum-encrypted communicator connecting her to similar command centers around the globe. Humanity had learned long ago to hide their true capabilities. Their small size, long considered a disadvantage, had become their greatest asset. In orbital stations disguised as debris, in underwater bases that appeared as nothing more than geological formations, and in mountain facilities shielded by technology that made them seem like natural caverns, humanity's real fleet waited. Ships that didn't rely on primitive chemical propulsion, but on something far more advanced, quantum fold drives that could traverse space by folding reality itself. Status report, Chen commanded, her voice carrying across the command center. All quantum fold drives are synchronized, General. The fleet is ready for immediate deployment on your command. Chen nodded, watching as more Xylaxian ships arrived in orbit, their crews' laughter and mockery being picked up by Earth's hidden sensors. Let them think humanity was weak. Let them believe their size made them superior. Let them laugh. Time to send our greeting, her second-in-command asked. Lieutenant Colonel James Rodriguez, his usually cheerful face now set in grim determination. Not yet, Chen replied, watching as the aliens continued their show of force. Let them commit more ships to this easy conquest. Let them call in their friends to watch the supposedly entertaining subjugation of another primitive species. She smiled, but it wasn't a smile of amusement. It was the smile of someone who knew that underestimation was about to become a very expensive mistake for their would-be conquerors. In orbit, High Admiral Kexthor was preparing to address Earth's leaders, to demand their surrender and submit to becoming another protectorate of the mighty Xylaxian Empire. His message would be broadcast globally, a show of power meant to cow the tiny beings below into submission. Little did he know that humanity was about to teach the galaxy a lesson about judging species by their size, a lesson that would be remembered for centuries to come. The hidden strength. 3 kilometers beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility known only as Deep Station Alpha, Dr. Elena Rodriguez made final adjustments to the quantum fold matrix. Her small hands moved with practiced precision across holographic controls that would have been impossibly delicate for the giant Zalaxians to manipulate. Final calibration complete, she announced to the room of engineers and technicians. The quantum fold drive is operating at 100% efficiency. Through the reinforced windows of the testing chamber, a prototype warship hung suspended in a massive underwater cavern. Unlike the clunky, chemical-propelled rockets that the Zalaxians had observed, this vessel was sleek, almost predatory in its design. Its hull, composed of dark, quantum-responsive materials, seemed to drink in the light rather than reflect it. Dr. Rodriguez, a voice came through her quantum communicator. General Chen requires your presence in the command briefing. Minutes later, Elena stood in a holographic conference room, her image projected simultaneously across all of Earth's hidden command centers. General Chen's avatar appeared at the head of the virtual table, along with the other architects of humanity's defense. The Zalaxians have called in their entire Third Fleet, Chen announced without preamble. They're treating this like a celebration. 17 capital ships now in orbit, with more arriving hourly. Perfect. Admiral Hassan interjected from his underwater base in the Indian Ocean. The more they commit to this easy conquest, the more decisive our response will be. Elena stepped forward, her hologram highlighting as she spoke. The quantum fold drives are ready. We've solved the mass displacement issues that plagued the early prototypes. Our ships can now transition between real space and quantum space with zero energy signature. The assembled leadership nodded. This was humanity's true strength, not the size of their ships or their weapons, but their ability to think small, to perfect the minute, to master the quantum realm that their larger galactic cousins found too delicate to manipulate effectively. In orbit, High Admiral Kexthor was preparing for his moment of triumph. The Zalaxian Third Fleet had arranged itself in an impressive formation, their massive ships creating artificial eclipses over Earth's major cities. It was a standard intimidation tactic that had worked countless times before. "Begin the transmission," he commanded, his voice swelling with pride. Below, in command centers across the globe, humans watched as the alien message began broadcasting across all frequencies. "People of Earth," Kexthor's translated voice boomed. "Your planet has been chosen to join the glorious Zalaxian Empire. Your primitive technology and diminutive size make you ideal candidates for protected status under our benevolent rule. Resist, and we will be forced to demonstrate our superior." General Chen cut the transmission with a gesture. "I think we've heard enough. Dr. Rodriguez, is the quantum fleet ready for deployment?" Elena checked her data streams one final time. 5,000 ships, hidden in underwater bases, mountain hangars, and orbital blind spots, each one equipped with technology that the Zalaxians, in their arrogance, had never even thought to develop. "All ships report ready, General. Quantum fold drives are synchronized. We can deploy the entire fleet simultaneously, exactly as planned." Chen's eyes narrowed as she studied the tactical display. The Zalaxians had arranged their ships perfectly, for a light show. Their formation, while impressive to primitive eyes, left them completely vulnerable to an attack they couldn't imagine possible. "Send the go code to all fleet commanders," Chen ordered. "Initiate Operation Quantum Dawn." Throughout the hidden facilities, human crews boarded their ships. They were small by Zalaxian standards, most ships crewed by just 5 to 10 people, but they were more advanced than anything the alien empire had ever encountered. Elena watched as the quantum signatures of Earth's fleet began to align. The technology she had helped develop was about to change the galaxy's balance of power forever. In their arrogance, the Zalaxians had never considered that humanity's small size might be an advantage, that it would lead them to explore and master aspects of physics that larger species found too difficult to manipulate. Quantum fold drives spooling up, she reported, watching the energy readings climb. Fleet commanders report all systems go. Ready for simultaneous deployment on your mark, General. Chen stood straight, her expression resolute. Above them, the Xylaxian fleet continued their display of power, unaware that they were about to learn a harsh lesson about judging a species by its size. Send them our response, Chen commanded. Alina's fingers danced across her controls, initiating the sequence that would reveal humanity's true strength to the galaxy. The quantum fold drives hummed to life, preparing to tear holes in reality itself. The time for hiding was over. The time for humanity to show its true capabilities had come. The decisive strike. Reality rippled. In the space of a single breath, 5,000 quantum signatures bloomed around the Xylaxian fleet. Where there had been empty space moments before, humanity's hidden armada materialized in perfect attack formation. Each ship, though smaller than their Xylaxian counterparts, gleamed with deadly purpose. On the bridge of the stellar dominion, High Admiral Kexthor's 6 eyes widened in shock. Impossible, he roared, his secondary mouth gaping. Where did they? Multiple energy signatures, his sensor officer screamed. They're everywhere. Reading 5,000. No, 5,012 vessels, completely surrounding our fleet. In the heart of Cheyenne Mountain, General Chen allowed herself a small smile. All ships, execute attack pattern Omega. Show them what the tiny humans can do. The quantum fold drives that had allowed Earth's fleet to appear simultaneously at precise coordinates now demonstrated their second purpose. Humanity's vessels began to blink in and out of existence, appearing at different positions faster than Xylaxian targeting systems could track. By the eternal void, Kexthor whispered, watching as his supposedly superior fleet found themselves unable to land a single hit on the human vessels. How are they moving like that? The answer came in the form of concentrated quantum lance beams that sliced through Xylaxian shields as if they were tissue paper. The human ships, synchronized through their quantum networks, struck with surgical precision at key systems across the alien fleet. From her station in Deep Station Alpha, Dr. Elena Rodriguez monitored the quantum fold signatures. All drives operating at peak efficiency, General. The Xylaxians can't track our fold patterns. Their targeting systems are designed for normal space combat. They literally can't see us between jumps. In orbit, the battle, if it could even be called that, continued to unfold. Human ships appeared, struck, and vanished before the massive Xylaxian vessels could bring their weapons to bear. Their size, once a source of pride, now made them easy targets for humanity's quantum-precise strikes. High Admiral, the Xylaxian communications officer called out, "We're receiving transmissions from the humans." General Chen's voice, calm and measured, echoed through every Xylaxian ship. "This is General Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. Your ships are disabled. Your weapons are offline. Your engines are shutting down. You have exactly 1 standard minute to signal your surrender." Kexthor watched in horror as his mighty fleet hung powerless in orbit, their systems systematically disabled by weapons they couldn't understand, let alone defend against. Ships that had conquered dozens of worlds now floated helplessly, their crews forced to watch as tiny human vessels danced around them with impossible precision. "How?" he demanded, his voice barely a whisper. "You were primitive, weak." "No," Chen replied, her voice carrying a hint of satisfaction. "We were patient. We were careful. And most importantly, we understood something you never could. That being small doesn't mean being weak. It meant we had to think differently, innovate where you stagnated, perfect technologies you thought impossible." In the Quantum Command Network, Elena watched as the battle statistics rolled in. Not a single human ship lost. No casualties on either side. Exactly as planned. The quantum fold drives had performed perfectly, allowing Earth's fleet to strike with precision that would have been impossible with conventional weapons. "Status report," Chen commanded. Xylaxian fleet is completely neutralized, Elena reported. Their power systems are locked in a quantum stasis field. They couldn't restart their engines even if they wanted to. We have total control of the battlefield. Throughout the disabled Xylaxian fleet, crews stared in disbelief at their useless controls. The beams they had mocked for their size had, in the span of minutes, rendered the mighty Third Fleet into floating debris. Your empire made a critical mistake, High Admiral. Chen continued, her voice reaching every Xylaxian ear. You judged us by our size, never considering that it might be an advantage. While you focused on building bigger ships and stronger weapons, we perfected the manipulation of the quantum realm itself. Your ships may be larger, but ours can fold space and time. Kexthor, his pride shattered along with his fleet's reputation, slowly raised his massive hands. In the name of the Xylaxian Empire, I surrender. The battle was over almost as quickly as it had begun. Humanity had announced its presence on the galactic stage, not with brute force, but with technological superiority so complete it bordered on the miraculous. The age of dismissing species based on their physical size had come to an abrupt and decisive end. And in command centers across Earth, humans began preparing for what would come next, the diplomatic revolution that would reshape the galaxy's balance of power forever. Tables turned. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Confederation buzzed with chaos. Representatives from 200 species crowded the chamber, their voices rising in a cacophony of disbelief and alarm. The massive screens surrounding the hall played continuous footage of the Earth incident, showing how a supposedly primitive species had disabled the mighty Xylaxian Third Fleet in minutes. Ambassador Thexil of the Xylaxian Empire stood before the assembly, his massive frame seeming somehow diminished. The humans, he paused, swallowing his species' legendary pride, request recognition and full membership in the Confederation. A storm of protests erupted. Ambassador Carol of the Drachnid Collective rose to their full 7 meters. Impossible. They haven't even completed the standard advancement trials. Their technology was barely at level 2 just days ago. Was it? A new voice cut through the chaos. The assembly fell silent as a human figure stepped onto the central platform. Standing barely 2 meters tall, General Sarah Chen seemed tiny next to the alien representatives. Yet none could miss the quiet authority in her bearing. What you saw was what we allowed you to see, Chen continued, her voice carried clearly by the chamber's acoustics. While you judged us by our visible technology, we studied you. While you dismissed us as primitive, we perfected technologies you never thought possible. The holoprojectors activated, displaying detailed scans of human quantum-fold technology. The alien representatives leaned forward, their expressions shifting from dismissal to astonishment as they realized the implications. By the cosmic core, whispered Science Minister Vex of the Centaurian Alliance. They've mastered quantum manipulation at a level we thought theoretically impossible. The precision required at their scale, our size, Chen explained, which you saw as a weakness, forced us to think differently. We couldn't build bigger, so we built smarter. We couldn't match your physical strength, so we learned to fold space itself. In orbit above the Confederation capital, the first officially acknowledged human diplomatic vessel hung in space. Unlike the massive ships of other species, it was elegant, efficient, and incredibly advanced. Its quantum-fold drive allowed it to maintain multiple positions simultaneously, a feat that the Confederation's best scientists had declared impossible just days ago. Back in the assembly hall, Chen activated another hologram. This one showed the true extent of Earth's hidden infrastructure. The underwater bases, the mountain facilities, the orbital platforms that had masked their energy signatures as natural phenomena. We request membership, Chen continued, not as supplicants, but as equals. The age of judging species by their size is over. The galaxy must adapt to a new reality. Ambassador Thexil stepped forward again. The Xylaxian Empire, he seemed to struggle with the words, supports Earth's petition for membership. We have learned the cost of underestimating them. The assembly erupted in discussion again, but this time the tone was different. Fear and dismissal had been replaced by cautious respect, and in some cases, eager curiosity. Minister Chen called out ambassadorial tack of the Arcturian Commonwealth. Your quantum-fold technology. Would Earth be willing to share it? Chen smiled diplomatically. Earth is open to technological exchange programs under the right circumstances. We believe in cooperation, not domination. But her expression hardened slightly. We will not be dismissed or underestimated again. The message was clear. Humanity had revealed itself not through conquest, but through defensive superiority so complete it made traditional military power seem obsolete. In the following hours, the assembly debated furiously, but the outcome was never really in doubt. One by one, the major powers of the galaxy voted to accept Earth's membership. The humans had proven themselves not through centuries of gradual advancement, but through patience, ingenuity, and the ability to turn their perceived weakness into their greatest strength. As the final votes were tallied, Chen's quantum communicator buzzed. Dr. Elena Rodriguez's voice came through clearly. General, the quantum network is detecting unusual energy signatures from several Confederation worlds. It appears some of them are already trying to replicate our technology. Chen's smile widened slightly. Let them try. They'll soon learn that size isn't everything. Sometimes, the ability to think small is the greatest advantage of all. The assembly concluded with the formal recognition of Earth as a full member of the Galactic Confederation, but everyone in the chamber knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy's power structure had been irrevocably changed, and at its center stood a species that had turned their greatest perceived weakness into an advantage that none could ignore. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, and nothing would ever be the same. A new era. 5 years after Earth's dramatic entrance into galactic politics, the landscape of space had transformed beyond recognition. The massive towers of New Geneva, Earth's primary diplomatic center, stood as a testament to this change. Here, representatives of all sizes gathered, from the towering Zalaxians to the microscopic quantum collective, each finding spaces perfectly adapted to their needs through human quantum architectural innovation. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at a quantum viewing window, watching as ships of all sizes navigated Earth's orbital lanes using human-designed quantum fold protocols. The technology that had once been humanity's closest guarded secret was now revolutionizing galactic travel, but only after careful consideration and diplomatic negotiation. Quite a change from 5 years ago, isn't it? General Chen, now Earth's supreme ambassador to the Confederation, joined her at the window. Though she now wore diplomatic robes instead of a military uniform, her bearing remained as commanding as ever. The Zalaxians have adapted surprisingly well, Elena observed, watching a massive Zalaxian diplomatic vessel delicately maneuver using quantum precision controls. For a species that once mocked our size, they've become our most enthusiastic students. Indeed, the former empire had undergone a remarkable transformation. After their decisive defeat at Earth's hands, the Zalaxians had chosen to reinvent themselves. Their experience had taught them that true strength lay not in physical size or military might, but in the ability to adapt and innovate. Ambassador Kex Thor is waiting in the conference chamber, Chen's aide announced through the quantum comm. The same Kex Thor who had once looked down on humanity as primitive now served as the Zalaxians' chief diplomatic representative to Earth. In the quantum-enhanced conference room, Kex Thor's massive form sat comfortably in a chair that adapted to his size through quantum manipulation. Supreme Ambassador Chen, he greeted them, his 6 eyes showing respect rather than their former contempt. The latest joint development project is showing remarkable progress. The project he referred to was perhaps the most ambitious in galactic history. The Quantum Integration Initiative. By combining Zalaxian industrial capacity with human quantum expertise, they were creating technologies that neither species could have developed alone. The miniaturization principles you taught us, Kex Thor continued, combined with our large-scale engineering. The possibilities are endless. That's what we've been trying to show the galaxy, Chen replied. Every species has its strengths. True progress comes not from dominance, but from combining these strengths. Their conversation was interrupted by a priority alert. The quantum displays activated, showing a phenomenon at the edge of explored space, a massive gravitational anomaly that threatened several populated systems. The void cascade, Elena whispered, recognizing the pattern. It's happening sooner than our models predicted. But unlike 5 years ago, the galaxy didn't panic. Instead, they watched as a joint task force assembled with impressive speed. Massive Zalaxian engineering ships, their hulls now incorporating human quantum technology, moved alongside sleek Earth vessels. Smaller ships from dozens of species joined them, each bringing their unique capabilities to bear. 5 years ago, we would have tried to solve this with brute force, Kexthor observed. Now we know better. The combined fleet demonstrated the new galactic paradigm in action. Human quantum fold technology allowed the ships to position themselves with precise coordination. Zylaxian power systems provided the energy needed for large-scale operations. Smaller species contributed specialized solutions that larger races couldn't have developed. From the conference room, they watched as the fleet executed their carefully choreographed response. The void cascade, which could have devastated entire systems, was contained and eventually neutralized through the combined efforts of multiple species. This is what we envisioned, Chen said quietly. Not domination, not superiority, but cooperation. Every species contributing their unique perspectives and abilities. Elena nodded, remembering the days when humanity had hidden their true capabilities. We turned our size from a weakness into a strength, but the real victory wasn't in proving our power. No, Chen agreed. It was in showing the galaxy a better way forward. As they watched the joint fleet return from their successful mission, the quantum displays showed similar scenes playing out across the galaxy. Species that had once competed now collaborated. Technologies that had once been weapons were being adapted for exploration and discovery. The galaxy had learned that true strength came not from size or power, but from the ability to see value in differences. High above New Geneva, ships of all sizes continued their intricate dance, guided by quantum protocols that merged the precision of the small with the power of the large. Humanity had not just earned their place among the stars. They had helped create a new understanding of what was possible when species worked together. The era of size-based discrimination was over. In its place, a new age of collaboration and innovation had begun. And at its heart was the lesson humanity had taught the galaxy, that true strength comes not from physical size, but from the size of one's ideas and the willingness to share them. The stars beckoned, and for the first time, the galaxy's species moved forward together, each contributing their unique strengths to a greater whole. The future, it seemed, would be written not by the largest or the strongest, but by those willing to learn from each other. And that was humanity's greatest victory of all.